Now, so back here again, looking at this Evija event and some future events. This thing has been great for content, for better or worse. Which is, yeah, if that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, Self and Ziggy were just going to chat about, like, say, they've made some changes to this one from the global event, a couple of changes. However, the car hunt for the Honda Civic hasn't been affected by those, really. Which is kind of a bit on the bad side. The Battista event has been delayed, and then speculate on a potential Christmas event, and then yeah, go into the Rimac C2 event and kind of what was needed for that a small bit.
Yeah, I mean, we put out a video a couple days ago, and in the intervening days since then, just completely everything we said was pretty much invalidated. So it seemed like a good time for a follow-up.
Whoops. Well, okay, look, to be fair, the Lotus Evija, the car still sucks, the event still sucks. The only difference that's really happened is because of they changed the requirements and brought them right down. And because of that, it means that a load more people will be able to unlock it with tokens. That doesn't change the fact that the car and the event still sucks. Because, like, it does.
Yeah, it's a bit of a disappointing special event car. You had mentioned in a previous video about how they changed the requirements now so that you just need 39 blueprints before you can see the packs in the store.
Yeah.
Which is great for me, because if anybody had watched our previous videos, you might remember me saying that it was probably going to cost me somewhere in the neighborhood of 12,000 to 15,000 tokens just to unlock the car, because I would need to dump all that into the Vantage to be able to cover the final 3 blueprints I would have needed
you're gonna have to gold something special.
If I was able to get the Civic Gold, which is not by any stretch a guarantee based on, everything with the car hunt riot. So I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get the Civic Gold at this point, but
same
doesn't really matter, because I woke up Thursday, threw on my Switch, saw the little message that says new packs available, and I was like, no, it can't be. And sure enough, there were Evija packs in the store, and I hadn't checked Discord or anything to see, if
I had actually sent you a message on Discord that was, you're going to be happy and sad when you turn on Asphalt, because yeah, it brought like, woohoo, car, and then our video.
Yeah, but there's still good information in that video, and it's not too big of a deal. We have a follow-up now. So but I saw that and immediately jumped on it, not knowing if it was like a mistake or something. Opened up the first 10 pack, and I got just the 3 guaranteed blueprints, and I was like, okay, I see how this is going to go. But I opened up a second 10, got a jackpot of all things on the Evija, and then a third, and I got another 9. So I went 3, 18, 9, and ended up with 30 blueprints across 30 packs, which is crazy. A crazy kind of turnaround for me there.
Yeah, like a couple of people in the club got those jackpots, and like, say, another person in this chat to me a bit, Savatar, like, he also got a jackpot to unlock this. So I thought I might get the same luck, but no. But yeah, a fair few people seem to have gotten jackpots with that. But it's cool that people can unlock the car. And don't get me wrong in the slightest, like, that's awesome, because it's a cool looking car. But I've seen some people upset at the fact that, people have unlocked the car. And that one I don't get, because, like, say, for me, there was a chance I could unlock it. As this event played out, that chance diminished and diminished and diminished, with the Honda being fairly manky. But yeah, like, okay, now with the packs, I get the car unlocked, which is cool. But yeah, I don't get that being upset that other people get it, because if anything, that just increases the rewards. If there's events that involve the Evija, which would use a 10% bracket, now it's possible that 10% bracket's more than 2 people.
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing that more people are going to have access to it. But I understand frustration from certain players who, because none of us knew this was going to happen. This was a complete surprise for all of us, not just us talking about it in these last couple of videos, but if you chat with anybody who keeps up with the Switch version of the game, nobody really expected this to happen. It wasn't previously announced, And there's a lot of people who would have went down the route of like, okay, I know what's going to happen here. I need to either star up the Zero or star up the Vantage or some combination of the two and dump a whole bunch of tokens into that. And anybody who did that woke up and saw those packs, or well, they probably would have had the packs already because they unlocked the car, but they would have found out secondhand and they would have been like,
yeah, you would see it in your club chat of blah blah has unlocked the Zero Uno or the Evija, the Evija the whole way down, like we had in the club. And it was just like, that's cool. More people get it. Power to them. You still have your gold Vantage or Zero Uno or other thing. Like I've got some really good cars out of this, and like I've spent about 3,000 tokens on the Evija. I'll throw up the my unlocking of that. Like I said, didn't get a jackpot, of course. But one of the things I really want to talk about is the fact that the way they changed this event and kind of pulled the rug out from underneath people a couple of times. There's been two major changes to this. One of them was a change that happened during the thing, which might mess over people who weren't aware of the global version. And then the other change was, even if you were aware of the global version, you would still get tripped over by it. And like, those changes are the fact that at the start of this event, the event became available, and so did Honda Civic packs. Now, we knew, or we had a fair idea that there was going to be a Civic car hunt. But there's a lot of players who didn't. And those players went down the route, obviously, of spend tokens on packs, get that car unlocked. Everyone who I've seen who did that was, like, really upset about that.
Yeah, definitely a lot of regret from people who did that. And I feel for them, because if they are not like us, where we go and kind of research what happened on global, then they had no reason to believe that there was going to be any way to unlock that car.
No, because like quite a lot of the special events bring in a car where it's the only way to get it is by packs. So like if you wanted to get that Honda Civic and then you're like, oh, I'm going to need that started up quite a bit. Like every 750 pack that was spent on that Honda Civic effectively was wasted tokens. Because of just how like fruitful that car hunt was.
Even if you didn't have enough time to run the car hunt 500 times just over the course of 7 days, you could have just refilled your event tickets for 50 tokens a pop, and you would have come out better than
that's what you mean. If you want to like brute force it on one of the days, you could have done that, where you would spend like, say, I think I worked it out that a single 750, like a 10 pack worth was 150 runs at a car hunt. So the players who spent money early get messed over by that, which makes them obviously feel bad, and you've got buyer's remorse straight away there, which is really something you want to avoid with this. I mean, those packs and stuff should be a case of you buy them and you know you're getting ahead. It should never be a case of you buy them and you're like, uh-oh, I've made a horrible mistake. Like, not within a matter of days anyway, I don't think. I think that was way too, like... That was like, you bought those Honda packs and in the following week, the car hunt becomes available. It's like, oof, buyer's remorse. Then you have you get people who are unlocking the Evija. And they unlock the Evija, they get the packs available. That's kind of what everyone expected. And then just 2 days after that, you have the requirements changed down. People with 39 blueprints can get it. And now you've got buyer's remorse for people who had the Vantage, people who bought the Honda Civic, people who bought the Zero Uno. Just in terms of, like, and I talk about buyer's remorse, by the way, one of the main things I just really needed to add this portion in, little editing going on here, but yeah, when I talk about buyer's remorse, I'm talking about if you got to a point where you were 5 blueprints away from getting the Evija unlocked, and you then went, okay, I have no other avenues to get that car, no way to unlock it, I'll go for the high voltage ultimate relay. And you went for the step of that, which is 6,000 tokens to get those 5 Evija blueprints to unlock it. If you did that the day before those packs became available, and there was a 2-day gap between where the Evija was possible to unlock and where this relay event was up, you spent 6,000 tokens on 5 blueprints. Those 5 blueprints, if the packs then had been available instead, if you had the worst luck ever and you spent 1,500 tokens, you got 2 10 packs and 6 blueprints. So like you got absolutely messed over there for 4,500 tokens worth of a microtransaction. And yeah, like I know that people will say, oh, you can get the tokens for free and such. 4,500 tokens is €150 worth.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow if you were in that situation.
And you've got buyer's remorse as well from people who are after investing so much time into that Honda Civic car hunt because now that wasn't needed. So like running all those 500 races was just effectively, it was kind of a waste of time. Like, because the Honda Civic isn't great, and the Honda Civic was mostly needed for this, and yeah, like it was just a waste of 500 runs.
Yeah, I mean, best case you get the 4 blueprints from the first Civic stage, and then if you manage to gold it, which is a big if, you would get an additional 5 blueprints and 300 tokens. So yeah, it's a little bit tough. I think we've both been very clear in that we don't advocate for jumping right into spending tokens and buying stuff. We kind of like take the wait and see approach and be cautious.
That's why there's a 22K up there, and I believe you're in a similar situation without like throwing your credit card at this a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sitting at 30,000+ tokens right now, and it's just
yeah, because you
just
have
patience.
Yeah, because you'd always advocate for being patient with the game. But within reason, it would be nice if you could go into a special event like this and it was like more clear, because then it would be a case of like you could get players like us who would be like, okay, this pack becomes available for this nice new car, and there you go, you invest into that car and it's like you got it. You shouldn't get like, it's fine if you get a car in this event and then 2 or 3 events down the line it becomes available in a no easier way. You know, I think that's fine. But undermining a car twice mid-event, I think that's going to get people to be like far more careful with their tokens, more careful with money microtransactions especially.
And there's like an easy solution to this problem, right? It's just put the Evija packs in the store from day one of the event, have a lock on them, and it just says, you know, once you get 39 blueprints, you can purchase these packs, just like any other requirement gated condition in. Take a daily event, for example. Look at the Epic Import Part Hunt. It says specifically you can run this Epic Import Part Hunt with the Honda Civic when you have it at 4 stars. That's when you can claim the rewards.
Yeah.
So you just do the same thing with the pack. You say you can buy these packs when you have 39 blueprints.
Yeah,
just these conditions.
Just to add something on there and say like they could have done similar for the Honda Civic packs. Put the Honda Civic packs in the game at the same time as that car hunt. Make it clear that car hunt is a 500 race car hunt. So if people don't have the time for that, cool, spend the packs. But don't put the packs in and then undermine them with a car hunt. That's really just, it's like it completely introduces buyer's remorse within the same week. It is really, really a bad form. But that would take modifying the events in a way that would take slightly more effort than just flipping that switch and saying, make the packs available for somebody with 39 things. It would involve a change to graphics. And that's one where I think like maybe the translation of this game from global to Switch, you know, isn't that complicated in terms of like how much resources they have to actually modify these events, and like how much of it isn't just copy paste that.
Sure, and we've noticed that at times that it is very often a literal translation.
When you have the L and R button, like the L and R button being visible on the garage, where it was like very clearly like that's not a button that's on the Switch. It was like L1 and R1. Which is like, that's not a Switch button. Those are right. PlayStation's like Switch controller has L or and Z or ZL. It doesn't have R1 and R2.
Right, which is not to say that they never do customize things for the Switch. I mean, if you look at the Bugatti Chiron event, it was completely customized for the Switch. I mean,
Yeah.
all the cars that were required were different. The stages were different. Everything was different from the ground up. So it's not like
It's not impossible to do
unprecedented
it.
for them to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
I
not
mean,
like impossible. And the thing is, it's not a lot that would have made this event like a whole lot better. And definitely, like I said, it like there's gonna be people who get upset by events always. But I think that like if somebody's upset by an event because it's like somebody like I've had people approach me from the Aperta event and that Senna event and stuff and leave comments on my videos that were like, what do I do? My garage isn't great. I haven't got the money to spend. What do I do for this event? And you're like, look, realistically, these special events are for people who invest a lot of money and time in the game. And what you're going to do is you're going to miss out on the special event car. It's the sad truth of it is the fact that like if you don't invest time and money into the game, you're going to miss out on some cool cars. And they're like, oh, that's kind of upsetting a bit. But they're not the paying players. This event, the people that it annoyed the most, I think, is those people who pay.
yeah, I mean, definitely. And they have every right to be annoyed here. Like I said, it could have been clearly avoided by just having the conditions. Yeah, having the conditions to get the packs stated up front. Because if that was stated up front, like I said, if you had a pack that appeared in the store and it says you can buy these packs when you satisfy XYZ conditions, then everybody would be like, all right, I can get what my garage is right now, see if I can satisfy those conditions, if I can get to 39 blueprints. And then I won't have to spend any money or use any tokens on whichever car, and I can just, cruise on through.
Or you would just know, because like without even doing that, say in our case, like we both spent a time commitment to this, not even a token and a thing to like do the 500 runs with that Honda Civic. It's torture, but it's like it's a ton of runs. And then I took it and I done 100 subsequent runs of that the daily event to get those epic import parts from at the high voltage thing. And like, so you're talking about 600 runs for this Honda Civic. And then when it turned around the fact of like, oh, you don't need that, it's like, okay, well, that's 600 runs done for, fun. That wasn't fun.
Yeah, no. No, I mean, you're entirely right. I mean, I was in a situation where I'm a little bit unique. I give up on it from the start. I was like, there's no way it's happening.
Yeah, it's just
I was just doing the Civic run just to like,
get on the Civic.
keep up with you guys, keep up with everybody in the club, and we're all in it together kind of thing. At least we're all suffering together. But I had given up, and like I said, I bought 3 10 packs for the Evija, and I got it at 2 stars because I got a jackpot. That's like,
yeah,
somebody who dumped all their toes to hear me say that is probably going to be very annoyed, and I can understand why. But it's good for me, but it's like I can recognize that.
See, it's good. That's the thing. It's like this. The way that they've changed this event has been very good for people who like didn't have the cars, didn't have the garage and stuff ready for this event technically or what they're expecting. So it's been good for more players. But the people who it's been bad for are the people who spend, big.
Yeah, and I also want to be clear. Like,
I was going to say I wanted to make a whale noise, but I think I would have just ended up making it a. Yeah, I will. Yeah, but
yeah, I also just want to be clear. I don't think the changes that they made to the event are bad at all. I think they're good changes. They just should have been a little bit more transparent that they were coming. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
The change to the event, yeah, in the 39 blueprints, that one's not bad. Putting the packs for the Honda Civic early, that was the same way on Global, as in that is a practice that I think shouldn't exist in the game because it just leads to buyer's remorse instantly. And again, I'm just like, you shouldn't have people ever have buyer's remorse in this game. You should have them going like, say like the Grand Sport, the Corvette Grand Sport. We had that before where there was like a difficult event for it, where there was packs and stuff required and you could get so many blueprints for it. And then like a good few weeks later, you had a car hunt show up for it. But at the same time, at least it let the event play out where if you spent money on the packs, you weren't getting immediately messed over by the car hunt appearing.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually the way it works, right? Is you take something like the Bugatti or the Regera, they had special events, but several months later, you've had bursts of speed where they showed up in packs. So let's say you came up, I wouldn't recommend anybody in that situation, and obviously this is past already, but you're not going to go from 0 to 60 blueprints on those packs. But somebody who had come up like 10 blueprints short, here's your opportunity. You can grab those multi-packs and finish it off and unlock it. So if you miss it the first time, you can get it. But it's so many months later that people who have been enjoying it for all that time they're not gonna mind at that point if they had paid money or if they had dumped a lot of tokens into it.
Yeah, of course, and like that's the thing as well. It's like those token investments or cash investments, they're fine to give yourself a head start and a boost and stuff. But at the same time, you don't want that to be a case of like where they get a head start and then immediately hit a hurdle and get tripped up and go like, oh, that head start was for nothing. You just spent your tokens on that. Whereas like people who spend their tokens on this, on the Honda, could have then spent the tokens on Evija packs because they're the exact same price. So like instead of getting that Honda Civic starred up to 4 stars with tokens, this is gonna hurt to hear. You could have got the Lotus Evija starred up to 4 stars. Because it's the exact same 750 tokens per 10 pack.
Same price, same drop rate.
Except one is the roly-poly Honda Civic, and the other one is like an actual special event car. Because like, oh god, that Civic's handling.
Yeah, which is always why for me personally, I treat tokens like spending tokens like I'm spending money, even though I'm not, even if they're tokens that I've just saved up free to play. Because if you were to run out of those tokens, then your only option would be to spend money. Yeah. So I always kind of think of it like I am making a cash purchase decision, even if I'm just spending tokens that I've earned free to play.
Yeah, if it's anything other than credits, I do the exact same thing. If it's credits, I'm like, this is fine. I can easily replace those. But if it's the tokens or the trade coins, no, then I'm far, far slower. And that's the thing. It's like, it's good if you get a player into a position where they're like, okay, I feel confident. I'm going to put down the money. I'll put down those tokens. And then to log in a day later and be like, oh, damn it. But one thing though I did want to say, which kind of obviously it kind of wound up a couple of players, and we kind of see it as being like a thing that's a standard now, which is the fact that car hunt was 500 races. The Genetti just has a car hunt which started off with just 300 races, and it's like that is so much time they're asking people to put into the game. Like that was for the Honda Civic, that was 3 to 4 days of constantly the switch had to be on that event out of a week. And the thing is, look, this is just a case of like, obviously nobody who is making this game is watching, but the thing is, you have to keep in mind those 500 races, if you're playing that on the Android version of the game has ads that pop up between races. Every ad viewed is revenue that's incoming. So the player having their eyes on their phone, watching those ads 500 times is a lot of revenue. The Switch doesn't have ads. Like, what's the benefit from making people who have the Switch version of this play it for 4 days straight doing the same Honda Civic run? Like, it's just going to put players off the game. They're going to get burned out. I've seen, like, we've had 2 or 3 people from the club just leave, like, or just quit playing. And it's just a case of, like, yeah, you're asking them to spend 4 days straight with their Switch on. And, like, for what benefit? There's no adverts in the game. That's just holding people hostage a tiny bit at their Switch. And, like, there's, what's the gain out of that? I do not understand.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can think of is to try to get to either money or tokens as an alternative. But besides that, I don't know. Most people are not going to do that, I would imagine. But
yeah, see, I just can't even work that one out. I don't get that, like, in the slightest.
But yeah, in case it seems like we're being overly negative or overly critical regarding this, I think the point that we're trying to get across here is we really enjoy this game. We play it a lot to the point that we're here making content about it and talking about it and, you know, trying to interact with the community about it. I think the idea that we're trying to get across is that when you take a game that has very good core gameplay, like the core gameplay of Asphalt 9, we both agree is very solid. It's a ton of fun. But then you stretch that across a 500 race car hunt where you are doing the same race 500 times, it dilutes that strong core gameplay. And it takes a good thing and turns it into a bad thing.
And realistically, like, I would hope nobody raced that race 500 times. Like, it was mostly just done with touch drive. You select the event, you select the car, you press nitro once, and you press right once 500 times. That's not why I play this game. Like, what I love about this game is like the control mechanic and stuff of it. Like, if this game's like level of control over the cars was in every other driving game, I would love them, because like I love that in game, like the driving of this game. Like, no other game that I can think of even remotely comes close to how enjoyable it is to race in Asphalt. But that car hunt was not racing. That was like, well, if you did race it, then oh my god, you're 500 times down that same valley. But like, you could come first in it 500 times by just, like I said, press nitro button once, press right, come back.
Right. Yeah, but that's kind of the opposite of what you want, is for your players to be finding ways to achieve their goals by not playing the game as much as possible. So it's kind of a failure in that sense to engage the player base with the content that you're putting out, because if the player base is just going to find a way to cheese it as much as possible and not have to actually play it, then, you know, it kind of defeats the point. A special event should be something where players are excited to jump into it and play it. And then, you know, you look at this event, you've got a 500 race car hunt, you have
another 100 race for the epic import part, or if you
per car.
If that's it exactly. It's not even a case of it's just 100 races. It was 100 races for me with the Honda Civic, because that's the only one I can go into this. I don't have the Vantage started up enough to do that race. I don't have the Vantage started up enough to do it, and I don't have the Zero Uno high enough to do it either. So I can't actually do either of those races. But yeah, you're talking about like potentially hundreds and hundreds of races on the same short tracks. And it's like, yeah, I was saying this to you. It's like, if you watch a TV show and like you watch an episode and it's enjoyable, you're going to be like, oh, cool, I want to see what the next one is. And if the next one was the same episode and the same episode, and it was the same episode 500 straight times, like, no one's going to be watching, you know, for the next season, because it's like, it's just going to be 500 more episodes of the same thing. Like, that's, yeah, that's your viewer is turning off. Like, one of the other things though that they did change with this event from other stuff, which is that Honda car hunt, and I think it is a really kind of a Ratty-ish change to the players, because say every other car hunt has had the reward set at 5 and 10% for your 1 and your 2 epic import parts, except this one, they know that people are after the car to get that golden Honda Civic, and they've changed it to be 1 and 5% for those. And the thing is, like, there are so few people taking part in this one. From the numbers that I'm trying to work out here, there's about 7,500 players or less who've taken part in this. So that top 5% is somewhere in the region of like 300-ish racers. It's somewhere in the region of the 300 mark anyway. And yeah, that is like, it means that there is around 300 racers who are getting 1 epic import part, and around 50 or 60 who are getting the 2 epic import parts. Which really sucks, because that did not need to be done at all. At the end of like what's already a bad car hunt, a bad grind of 100 things for 1 epic import part, and then the car hunt riot appears, and like it's been modified at the top in such a way to make it like even less fun again. Like, this is you're hurting the player who spent tokens, you're hurting the player who spent time, and you're hurting the player who wants to get the best rewards out of this event. Like, are you trying to lose players?
Yeah, I mean, not too much to add from my end on that one, because I pretty much completely agree. You know, I'm saying top 5% myself as of now. I don't know if it'll hold, but that's kind of where it is. It doesn't matter as much as it would have, because like I said, I already unlocked the Evija, but
Yeah, based on the last video that we did, we focused on a certain event, and that is this lovely fella right here, the Pininfarina Battista. And since then, we've had some news on said event.
yeah, so that video became outdated very quickly. It only took about 24 hours.
4 after it was published, actually.
There you go.
Yeah, that news announcement was 4 hours after publishing that.
Yeah, so that was delayed into 2021. We don't have an exact time frame on when that'll happen. The official announcement was that it was due to legal issues. I can only assume it's due to licensing. Obviously, Gameloft has to get licensing rights for all those that appear in the game. They need to negotiate that with the manufacturers. So I'm assuming that there's something that is holding that back from being released officially in an event. Although it is, the funny part about it is it's in the game technically. Yeah. Like, you can't use it, but it's there.
Yeah, which is a strange one, because like you can see it now and you can see the entire 3D model of it. The only thing you can't do with it in game is drive it, which would be an unusual one, because like it's, unless there was some issue with how it was being represented in terms of the stats and speed and stuff, because obviously they've got to green light all of this in terms of when you can put a car into the game, you can't put in like an awesome Ferrari and then represent it in the game as something that can't handle properly and goes incredibly slow. Like, there has to be some communication back and forth there of like, no, we don't want the car to be slower than that kind of thing. But it is an unusual one, see, because of the fact that the model is in game, that's one where I would think of maybe it was some issues to do with how it was being represented on the track.
Yeah, possibly that, or possibly just something as simple as, you know, they had the rights to use it in the other version, but those rights don't carry over to this release for whatever reason. You know, perhaps
should be yeah, it could be, but like it'd be very strange considering the fact that like all of the other cars, you know, coming over, you would think it was the same contracts exactly that would be signed and agreed on for every other car and this guy.
Yeah, I mean, the stats, as far as I know, haven't been altered on global. So the car just exists as it was originally released over there, and you can still use it, still play with it. So I don't know. My gut would be that it would have something to do with the rights for that version not carrying over to this version, and not so much the stats, but it could be anything. I don't know. Either way, it's going to be delayed into next year. I would consider it an indefinite delay for now, just because they haven't said anything definite on when it might be released. But that would definitely push up the Tech Rules event and the Rimac event to be the next two events, presumably. It kind of depends on how they want to lay things out. I mean, the Tech Rules ran side by side with the Evija event. That hasn't happened for us so far. There's still a chance that they could launch it next week or something like that.
But yeah, as you're saying here, like when it comes to the actual Tech Rules and that event not being in game, like you can get some blueprints for that right now on stage 15 has them. If you don't have that unlocked, you can see my version of it here. And yeah, like, so the blueprints are there and it would have started here on the global version, but they haven't on Switch.
Yeah, I think it would have already been ongoing at this point, based on the global version. So it makes sense that those Tech Rules are there. That's where they would have been on global in that same stage. But I think maybe given the delay to the Battista and perhaps the need to buy a little bit of time, they might have decided to separate those two events out and structure it in such a way where you have the Evija and then perhaps the Tech Rules, the Rimac, and then, you know, they see where they are on those legal issues with the Battista come early 2021, which isn't that far off at this point. It's a month and a half away.
But yeah, that means that basically then so you've got the Lotus Evija event is going to play out on its own, and this is on for another 2 weeks. So then we're going to be pretty much going into the holiday season kind of, and like just because of the fact of like where these events and stuff are based, I would think there'll be some kind of a holiday event on over the holiday seasons, just like something to kind of wind down the year a small bit in the game, and obviously not have like a time commitment, because you're not going to want to have a 500 race car hunt, say, going on the week of Christmas.
Yeah, and I think the way it had kind of played out on global was that the Rimac event was happening around that time. I'm a little skeptical that that's going to be the same case for us, just given the way things have been shuffled around. I know.
I would think it'll be another, like, say, it'll be the Lotus and then a small event and then something, I would think, after Christmas. Like, what I was speculating kind of is just a case of you would probably have the Lotus and then maybe an Unleashed event, but also then just something small of a special event, some sort of Christmas-related thing. And, like, not even just a case of have an event at Christmas time, but the cynical side of me and the business side, I'm kind of thinking that, like, over the Christmas period, you're going to have a lot more players who are buying like a Nintendo Switch or getting one as presents and stuff. And those people are going to get like a Switch and a game. And what's the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make yourself an account. You're going to go onto the eShop and you're going to get your free-to-play games. Because you're going to be like, oh, I want to start off and have a couple of games. So you've got, obviously, every kid is going to get Fortnite. And then your other options are Rocket League, Paladins, and Asphalt 9 Legends. And of those three games, Asphalt 9 Legends has a class thing in the fact that it's only 2.5 gigs. I have no idea how, like the file size is so small, but if you've just got the Switch out of a box, that's really awesome, because like say, Paladins and Rocket League are really good games as well, but they both come close to 10 gigs of a download, and over Christmas, and just for the simple sake of like wanting to get something you can play quickly, loads of kids are going to have a Switch and not have games for it, and they're going to just want to install a free game. Asphalt is amazing for that. Like,
yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense, and it's just a quick and easy download, and it's a good opportunity to kind of engage those new players. Some kind of special event to entice people in.
Yeah,
and you can do something for the older players as well. Again, I think on global around Christmas they had dedicated packs for the Bugatti Chiron pop back up in the store, so people who to unlock that car or a 6-star at the first time around on global were able to then do that there. So there could always be something like that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the exact same thing, but there could be something that pops up and people can dump some tokens into it. So good idea to hold on to some tokens for around Christmas time just to see what pops up, just in case there's anything cool like that.
Yeah, and even like it could just be something where it's like, oh, these are plentiful rewards where you get like 20 or 30 blueprints from doing certain things, but just have them as blueprints for cars that, like, not say that are going to be major turnaround points for the game where it's going to be, oh my god, now all the players are going to win in multiplayer, but have it as just like, here's 20 blueprints for a D-class car, a C-class car, a B-class, and an A-class, so that new players who are coming into the game have like a kind of a starting point that'll get them like a couple of nice cars, and then chuck in a DLC on top of that, which, like, say, €50, and you actually get enough blueprints to finish off those cars and get them unlocked, so that people who, like kids especially, who get the game and enjoy it and get those first like massive amount of blueprints, chuck in some €20 or €50 DLC where it's like, okay, do you want to actually have this as a full game? I know that there is a starter DLC pack already that exists, but put it in as an event in game so that it's kind of like there as a, here's that purchase that you need to get started off in this game properly, and fill out the garage a bit and give you, like I say, just the different classes of cars, and you could use those then to run the daily events, for all of the classes up along. So I think it would be just a really good time to, like, for those players who get the Switch, install this game, hook some of them in, get them in as like long-term players, and like have it as a way that, like, yeah, indeed, you get some Chiron blueprints for the people who have been playing it for ages, who are like, oh my god, that rare car I want, and then have it with the, just chuck out a load of like completely what would be worthless blueprints to, you know, people like us who play this for a load. But they will mean the world to a new player who's like, oh wow, I got like 30 blueprints for this, you know, Dodge Challenger or something.
Yeah, the good old Challenger. Yeah, there's definitely a way to do it and have something that's there specifically for the new players to get them started. At the
Yeah.
same time, have some kind of pack that's available for the people who've been playing for a while as kind of a thank you. Here's a special event car or something that we can throw at you for Christmas, and you know, you got
Or
tokens sitting around. You can dump that on.
yeah, or I'll get 30 blueprints for a Dodge Challenger that'll convert into trade coins. I'm just thinking, woo, there's something towards my Terzo blueprints from the Legends store. Nice, you know, it's going to be a good Christmas present. But yeah, it's something that's just not going to cost a lot to put together, hopefully. And yeah, like I said, it'll rope in some of those new people who get a Switch and be like, oh, cool, this is a nice looking driving game. Because, like, in terms of other driving games on the Switch, I've played loads of them. And like one of the mistakes I think some people might make is the fact of like, if Asphalt is available for free, what are the paid options? So the paid options you have on the Switch are like Grid, WRC, and V Rally, and Gear Club Unlimited. And Grid is very good as a simulation racer. It's like the complete opposite end from like Asphalt's arcade craziness to completely dead serious simulation. But Gear Club Unlimited, WRC, and V Rally are terrible on the Switch. Like all of those are just, they're awful. And like, yeah, I've I like car games, so I've ended up with them. But still, at the same time, like they're not worth money in comparison to what Asphalt gives you for free.
So, given the adjusted timeline of things and the fact that Vija is still sticking around for another 2 weeks, that would put us in December before we would see any kind of new event again. And I think it is probably unlikely that we would see the Rimac until after Christmas. It is possible that maybe the thought would be, you know, people are off for Christmas break or whatever, so do the Rimac then when people have a lot of time to grind out an event. So there's a chance of that happening. I think more likely it'll be after Christmas. Either way, we know that it's going to be at the very earliest mid-December at this point, or at least that's what seems more likely. They don't typically go right into the next event, like one event after the other like that. It can happen, but
No, not
I would
not
say
the special events. Like it'll be special event Unleashed, little event,
yeah.
special event. Yeah, yeah.
The quickest turnaround I could think of recently was going from Aperta to Jesco, where there was like a 1 week break in between with a 918 Unleashed. But there was only 1 week in between those events. But there was a big gap between the Jesco and the Evija. I mean, we're like a month and a half between events.
Yeah.
And I know part of that was
The Kings of the
'cause they
Fall
needed to
update.
roll out the they needed to roll out the update. But I think there could be a little bit of a time gap here, just given the holiday season. We'll see. I would advise that everybody hold 5,000 tokens for that event at least, because the way it was structured on global, you could only spend 5,000 tokens on it for relay packs. And yeah, you're going to want to have at least that amount saved, and just keep that in mind. As long as you have that, even if they do spring it on us earlier than we expect, you'll be good to go. Again, barring any major changes, but there's no real reason to expect major changes to that event, just given the way the game has been updated and the cars that have been added to the garage. Anybody who has the 0 can expect that they're going to have a head start there, because they won't need to unlock it through that event.
Yeah, and as we mentioned in the previous video as well, like that's going to be a Drive Syndicate event, which will have a lot of races to do and like its own special currency and stuff. And it's one of those ones that ends with a key, hopefully. And like, yeah, we also mentioned the fact that, like, say, obviously, when we get kind of word or any kind of information as to when that one might be getting a bit closer, we'll come back here and like kind of go through it more in depth, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. We can cover off on the required cars and a little bit about the structure of that event, because it is different from the Jesco event. Easier, which is a good thing, but grindier at the same time. And you are going to want to be careful, similar to the Jesco, with how you spend those syndicate coins. So we can kind of go through that whole thing to make sure nobody puts themselves in a bad spot.
The general rule of thumb with this and all events is just be careful, do a tiny bit of research beforehand, and don't buy single packs. But again, though, I'd say just thanks very much for joining me to have a rant and a chat about this one. Not just for myself, but I think quite a lot of people kind of appreciate the fact of when they're going like, oh man, this kind of really sucks. Just to hear the fact of like, you're not alone in that struggle. The fact that like, yeah, people who played this game for 2,000, 3,000 hours feel the same way about it. But thank you very much for joining again, Ziggy. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Always happy to join. And once again, thanks to everybody for, watching the video, leaving comments. We'll be sure to check those out. So give us your feedback. Let us know what you think about the Evija event. Let us know what you think about the upcoming events. And, if you guys have any speculation as a timeline, we'll be happy to chat with you about that down in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, there's been the last 2 days where I've been kind of like away sorting up bits and pieces, but I will check that video on the channel as well. And yeah, it explains some cuts on hand. And yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for everyone who's clicked on the sub button or like or commented on those videos. It means an absolute load, like just to see the kind of feedback. And indeed, if it's like negative or positive, just let us know if there's something where we've got stuff wrong, because yeah, we do. We are just players of this game at the same time, and like speculating based on the global version and like the way some of the events and stuff are laid out, and having played kind of games like this before in places.
Yeah, definitely. Feel free to let me know if I'm wrong. That's perfectly fine. We'll have a little chat about it.
It has been known to happen on occasion. Like say that last video we released where Gameloft let us know we were wrong immediately.
Right. I'm sure 4 hours after this one goes out, they'll announce the Rimac event is coming starting tomorrow, and the tech rules will be delayed into 2022, and we'll have to throw this one out.
And the Rimac is actually going to be on par now with the Honda Civic of this one, so don't worry about what Storm said. It's actually going to be a terrible car. But yeah, guys, there's a sub button over my head here. There's a playlist of other relevant videos over Ziggy's head at that side, and yeah, like drive safe, mind those tokens, and yeah, mind yourselves as well with these events. Don't burn yourselves out on these. If they're too grindy, just take a step back and chill out for a bit. Just don't let the game get to you, kind of thing, if it is, because yeah, some of these events are a bit on the sucky side. And yeah, just look forward to the next one and hopefully get something cool. And in the meantime, enjoy the cars that you get in your garage, because yeah, it's all about having fun. It is a game, so don't get too stressed with it. Alright guys, good luck.